Hello, everyone. Before this podcast starts, I want to leave a disclaimer. I want to say that there's going to be some heavy subjects being talked about in this podcast. And this is not a podcast that children should watch. And I want to leave a disclaimer on trigger warnings such as PTSD, traumatic experiences, child predatory behaviors, and toxic relationships. This is not good for anybody who has experienced that. And if you are triggered by such topics, please leave now. And I go off on this podcast so much so that by the end of this, my throat and everything starts coming back to me. And this is the closest thing that probably I will have to mental breakdown with talking about this movie. This movie deeply upsets me, and you will see that if you are able to continue watching this podcast. Another thing that I would like to note is that when Mari says that they will be deleting comments about this for people who want to discuss this movie, that is not true. And the only thing we ask you is to be respectful and to be cautious whenever you're posting the comments about this movie. This movie is not for the faint of heart, and it should be taken with as much seriousness as possible. We hope you enjoy this podcast, and yeah, thank you for listening.
Hey guys, so welcome to another one of our podcasts. So this is going to be an interesting one because I have just watched this yesterday while JC has seen this thing twice now. But we're going to be talking about Wreck-It Ralph 2 and how much of a disaster it is.
So we're just pretty much just referring to what the other video referring to why Wreck-It Ralph is a cinematic disaster.
Not necessarily, but we're going to give our opinion on it. But
look, I love that guy very much. I think he makes great analysis videos. I love him a lot.
But this is going to be our own opinion, basically, but
and I feel like we have I feel like we have
a lot to talk about.
Not a lot. Well, yeah, we do have a lot to talk about, but the fact that we are probably more angry with it than
pretty much most people.
Most people, yeah.
So basically, we're going to be talking about Wreck-It Ralph 2. For those who don't know, yes, Wreck-It Ralph has a sequel. And this came out, I think...
Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet. It's just Ralph Breaks the Internet. It's not called Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Still, I'm going to call it Wreck-It Ralph 2 because fuck it.
Okay.
So basically, or as it's mostly called, Ralph Breaks the Internet. So we're finally going to be talking about this. This movie came out 2 years ago?
2018.
Yeah, 2 years ago at this point. So I have never seen this movie until yesterday. JC has seen it twice.
I saw it twice,
but I've only seen it yesterday, and I can see why.
I did not know that I watched this in theaters. And I did not give much thought to it when it was first released in theaters. I saw it, I talked about it, you afterwards saying, okay, here's some things that I liked, here's some things I didn't like. It was an average review in general. And I thought it was going to end there. I honestly thought that I was like, okay, this is probably going to be not a movie that I'm really ever going to see again, or I'm going to...
Until yesterday!
...have any of the negative emotions that I have bottled up inside for, I guess, films that don't trigger that type of shit, but this one broke my fucking patience.
It honestly did. And then here's the thing, after we ended up watching this, we ended up doing a lot of self-reflection afterwards because... Okay, I'll be honest here. The second movie is horrible. The second movie is fucking horrible. I'm going to be...
Well, let's start with the good things about it.
Okay, since this is probably not going to be like the most positive review on this, we're going to just start with the positives and get this fucking over with.
Yeah.
Because there's not that much positives, to be completely honest with you guys. So, do you want me to go first or you want to go first?
You go first, son.
Okay, the only positives to me about Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet, is I liked the character designs for some of the new characters, like Yaz, I think is her name, and Knows More. I liked those two characters. I thought they were really cool. I still like Vanellope. She's adorable. Mm-hmm. I still like her. But, other than character design animation, which is what Disney is known for, so as much as I want to say the animation is good, it is still a positive, but it's kind of normal for Disney at this point, so I'm not gonna let that influence what we give it as like a final like star rating and stuff. So basically those are my only positives about it, just the character designs, animation, which don't really count, so I'm not really gonna count that. And just like I just like Knows More and Yaz about the whole thing. That was really it. And the first half of the movie I did not mind. I liked the first half of the movie. That's all I will say about it.
Okay.
Your turn, JC.
Oh.
You have a lot to say.
Okay. The things I liked. I liked the princess scene.
Okay, that was good. I will admit that too.
I liked the princess scene. And I liked the car chase scene.
Yeah, I will agree on that.
I think those would have been their own movies. Literally, the only good thing I can say about this is I wish they were in another movie. Like the princess scene, I wish it was its own movie. If this movie was High School Princesses, if this movie was Disney High School Princesses, I would have watched the shit out of that.
I will admit the princess scene was pretty good.
I liked the car chase scene where they implemented Fast and the Furious, where Disney animated that shit. That was
they could have. Here's the thing about that. They could have made that part a short. They didn't even have to put that in the movie. Now that I think about it, they could have just made that a short.
Yeah. Well, like anything with car animation, I like. I liked the song that Vanellope sings. A place like Slaughter Race, I think that's what it's called. I liked the song.
Yeah, the song was pretty good, but like
the song was good. Let me see. I liked. I thought some of the character designs were cute. Especially for Knows More and.
Yeah, Knows More was adorable.
And they updated the characters from the first movie, at least the character designs and stuff like that. Like, that movie was made in 2012. This is 2018, and you can see
it's like a 5-6 year difference.
Yeah, you can see where they worked on where they worked on the animation and stuff.
Yeah, you can tell they worked on it. Definitely, you can tell.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I'm trying to really think. I thought
Can you think of really anything else?
I thought the ending scene with the princesses was a little bit funny.
Yeah, I liked that's some of the only good things about the movie. Like, can you think of really anything else? Because I can't.
You know what's funny?
What?
In every single thing that I have listed that is a positive about this movie doesn't have anything to do with the main plot characters.
It really doesn't.
Story or anything like that.
Yeah, well, minus the part with Vanellope's little song, but other than that, no.
But even then, did that song really need to exist in the movie? No, it did not.
No, I'm so surprised they even included a song in this movie.
Yeah, I'm surprised they let Sarah Silverman sing. It's like hearing who's that girl that plays Louise on Bob's Burgers and Middle Pines?
I don't know her name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Wait, does she play her?
Christian Shaw.
Wait, does she play her?
It's like she's singing. What?
Wait, does she play Vanellope?
No, Sarah Silverman plays Vanellope.
Dang it, I thought she was going to play. I was about to say, if she played it, I'm like, girl, this is not your best performance.
No. That's Sarah Silverman. That's
okay, good. Because I was about to go off on her. Because I like Louise and Mabel's voice actors. Anyway, So we got into the positives, which is really not a lot, to be completely honest with us. We couldn't really think of that many positives for this. Let's get into the nitty-gritty negatives, because I know you got a lot to say about it.
Okay,
You're going to go first.
Let's start from the second half and go all the way to the...
Yeah.
Let's just
fucking
go. Spoilers. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, we're going to definitely be putting spoilers out for this, because I feel like this is one of those movies where we kind of have to, because of the situation of the movie. Mm-hmm. I will say this, though. The second half of this movie is so bad. Plot-wise, it's horrible.
I warned you.
Yeah, JC warned me before watching the movie. You're going to hate the second half of this movie.
No, I warned you that you won't like it. I warned you that you won't like this movie. If you have if you liked that first one, you will not like this movie. I warned you.
I wanted to see it just because I wanted to see it.
I know, but I warned you about it, and
now I see why, but at least it gives us something to review, though.
Yeah, I guess
we can finally do a trash talking review.
It does, but this is okay.
So you get to go first.
First scene. Let's start with the first scene.
Okay, you're going first.
Why?
Because you have more rage about this than I do, technically.
Okay.
So you go first. You let all your rage out.
Well, no, I can't let the rage out because I'm not even at the party. I'm starting at the first scene in the movie.
Okay, the very first scene?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's something I feel like they should have done with this movie. There's no continuity with this movie. There's no continuity.
No continuity at all because first they implement that Ralph goes into Vanellope's game when the arcade is open to build her a new track, and I'm like, why are you doing this in the middle of the fucking day?
Because unlike the first movie, and I saw this from the other guy's point, and now I can see why, and I can agree with this. The first movie was all about going turbo and stuff like that. They didn't even put turbo or mention turbo in this. They never even did that for the entire fucking movie. It's boop, it's gone. And
well,
it's
a lot of
what?
the big major things that happened in the first movie are not in this one, and they're never brought up or never.
And it sucks because here's the other thing that they don't do in this movie. Fix-It Felix and Calhoun are barely in this movie. They're only in the first half, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And they're only there for 2 scenes, which is disappointing because a lot of people I know actually like those 2 characters. So it was kind of sad that they weren't in the movie as often as the other characters. Yeah. And that pissed me off because it's you're only including half the cast of the original movie.
Well, because I think, you know what? I really don't mind that.
I don't mind it either.
I don't mind that because I really liked the relationship of Ralph and Vanellope in that first movie. And I thought it was good enough to where, the side characters are going to remain the side characters.
I know.
But you didn't need a whole it was good to balance out because that's what stories do. Sometimes you go to the B story to take a break from the A story. That's fine. But if it was just a movie about Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope going through the internet and they that is not the part that that's not, out of all the problems in this movie, that is the one that I can forgive the most. That is something that I won't even bet an eye on. That because it's just you know what, these are good characters anyway. I want to see more of them. I want to see more of Ralph and Vanellope interact with each other and stuff because I think it's cute and I think they're really good together.
I still wish they could have at least. This is my thing. I still wish they could have at least done a short. It doesn't even have to be part of the main movie. At least a short about what happened during the movie.
Well, maybe
with Felix and Calhoun, because they're only in like 2 scenes.
But
in the
hey,
whole movie.
you know. Okay, if there's one thing I could say,
Sure.
if there's one thing I can say that is mostly a negative, but I can still say that if we cut back to the B story, we probably wouldn't have seen much. We probably wouldn't have seen how fucking horrible. Like, if we cut to the B plot, people would not have probably been bothered by like the really icky part of this movie. And it probably would have gone more under the radar than it is already. And in some ways, I'm kind of like, you know, you could have had that, but in other ways, I'm like, this needs to be seen, so this can never happen again.
Yeah.
So, that is the most forgivable I can make. Like, 2 part of the main characters that are barely in this movie, which is already, like, you know, a very shitty thing to do, because it's already, like, kind of forgetting about those characters. Like, 2 major characters already. That's a really shitty thing to do, but I can forgive it.
Yeah.
I could forgive it if anything about this was good at all. So, okay. So pretty much Ralph fucks up Vanellope's game.
Yeah, so basically Vanellope wanted more out of her game because it was the same for the last like 5-6 years. It barely changed and all that stuff. So she wanted something different, and Ralph wanted to give her something different. So he ends up ditching his game. We don't even know what happened to make that happen. Mm-hmm. Like, we don't even know if Felix
said that he would cover for him, which is another thing
that he shouldn't have done, because
that is retconned.
That's retconned, and it's also like going against the whole Turbo thing from the first movie.
Yeah.
It's going against the whole Turbo thing. So it's like, I don't understand why they just completely cut out Turbo from this.
See, even the fly hates the movie.
Shush.
There's a big ass fly flying around, so if you hear buzzing in the background, that's probably the fly just zooming past.
Yeah. Anyway, so that happens. Eventually, the Wi-Fi gets hooked up to the station. Like, the little, like, plug-in station that everyone's at.
Yeah.
And everyone thinks it's supposed to be like a new game, and it turns out just to be the internet. So this makes me wonder what they're even going to do the internet for in the arcade. Like, is it just going to make new games come up?
I think it's just for the owner of the arcade to just, like, go on the internet. Because, like, if you think about it, like, a lot of businesses have, like, Wi-Fi and such like that.
Yeah, I understand that. So. But it's like, why didn't they, like... They should at least, like... I feel like they should have at least, like, said what was going to happen if they did that.
Well, maybe it was to implement phone game. I don't know.
Anyway.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. I don't care. I don't care about that.
That's like, something I would have.
It's a thing to where the plot needs to get going. Yada yada. Whatever. Plot. So we gotta move the plot. We gotta have something happen in this fucking movie. So yeah,
the Wi-Fi ends up getting hooked up. Vanellope wants to go in there. They trick the security.
Well, Vanellope wants to go in there because her wheel broke, and the only wheel to be found is on the internet.
On eBay. So, like, she ends up taking control of the player who's playing the game at the time. And she ends up basically making the wheel destroyed, even though they're kind of both to blame for this. Even though...
Kind of are.
I feel like they're both to blame because... even though Ralph had good intentions, he shouldn't have left his game. He should have just done it at night when everyone was asleep.
Okay, well, the thing about it is that they were having, like, they quote-unquote said that they were having a non-argument, which Ralph was taking much more seriously.
Than Vanellope was. Vanellope wasn't taking it as seriously.
Yeah.
And then, after that whole thing, she ends up wrecking in the game, and then the wheel gets broken from the actual arcade part. And they go on eBay. Apparently, eBay was the only place that had the wheel part, but they fucked it up.
Yeah, they fucked it up.
So they end up going into the internet to go get it.
Yeah, they go into the internet to go get it while the candy people remain hopeless. By the way, this all happens in like the first 5 minutes of the movie. It gives you no breathing room at all.
Like literally no
it gives you
room.
nothing at all. Like it gives you a little bit introduction to the characters and then all of a sudden conflict.
Yeah.
And I get, like, you know, I get the fact that, like, you got to keep a story going, you got to keep a story moving and stuff like that, but immediately there's already a conflict. Well, that isn't even a conflict. Ralph just made that up in his head, and then he, like, you know, destroyed and then he just destroyed Vanellope's game. Like, I think he and Vanellope are responsible for that. But anyway, so Vanellope and Ralph try to set things right. They go into the internet through the Wi-Fi box. I don't know what's called.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi, like, hotspot.
Yeah, they go into the hotspot, and then they enter Internet Land, which is... Can we talk about Internet Land, please?
Yeah,
Can we
let's talk about it.
Let's talk about Internet Land. In terms of in the internet in general, look, everything, like, it's gotta be like futuristic, and it's gotta have like moving, floating cars. It's gotta, like, how many times have I seen that tied to the internet? Like the buildings have to be like glass, and like it's gotta be like all blue and stuff, because all the fucking time the internet always has to be blue. It's always the same fucking color palette.
Yeah, I find that interesting. Like, it's always the same palette. And I also thought about this. Like, the more I think about it, like, I never saw the Emoji Movie, but it had a similar color palette vibe to the fucking Emoji Movie.
Think about the Emoji Movie, which I've seen, which by far is, like... Emoji Movie is boring. But, spoilers, I think the Emoji Movie is better than fucking Wreck-It Ralph 2. I'm sorry.
That's surprising for me.
I'm sorry. Like, I can't, like, I'm sorry. That's just gonna be a stand that I'm gonna forever, like, I'm gonna just forever say that, because it's true. So, okay. So, what they had in the Emoji Movie was the fact that, like, the emojis could travel through the phone, albeit less creative, by just going through the hallways between the apps. That's what it was. That's
literally it?
They go through the hallways. It was like empty. Like, it was so empty. Like that whole, like, you know, the settings, even when they went into the apps, there was, like, nobody was really in there. It was just what the app, like, was designed to be. You would get, like, photos in there sometimes. There was a Candy Crush level where it was just... there was nobody in there, by the way. No characters or anything like that. It was just Candy Crush, the game. And then there was just the dance app. And where I don't know, they danced. and then they went through Spotify, where they rode the waves of the copyrighted songs. And then they went to the iCloud, where there was nothing in there. Like, it would the main thing that I get from the Emoji Movie is emptiness. Just vast emptiness. Nothing interesting at all to look at.
We should not be turning this into the Emoji Movie, because I had never even seen it.
I know, but maybe one day you'll see it, and you'll see, like, wow, this is, like, empty. Like,
I'm gonna wait a while till we decide to do this. Anyway.
But I'll tell you right now, Emoji Movie is boring. That's only crime, is it being boring and really just kind of just like, oh, can we get this over with, because I'm bored out of my mind. And like, here, like, you know, you get a lot more, because it's fucking Disney. Of course they're gonna shell out, like, you know, of course they're gonna shell out Amazon,
fucking brands.
Of course they're gonna shell out eBay, Google, Twitter. They're gonna make it like the biggest fucking thing ever, and yet I don't really feel anything. I don't feel any, like, you know, atmosphere when going into this internet world, which I should feel atmosphere about it. If like, you know, if it wasn't just
bad,
not bad, just kind of like
cash cow-ish.
Yeah, if it wasn't just being like if they didn't get these brands. If they got, like, I know it's Disney and they own every fucking thing in the world, but they can still, like, you know, they can still create, like, I guess, of, like, like, you can parody names of all this stuff. And but it already was ruined by when they used eBay in the first 5 minutes. So I'm like, oh, okay, eBay exists. And then you see Google. And then you see Amazon. And then you see all these things that have Pinterest, Instagram, all this stuff. You see it all, like, and it's just like, and it's not even making, like, you know, much of clever commentary on it. Like, the most it's gonna be like, oh, you can go to eBay to get all this stuff all this stuff you can bid on stuff. Or like, oh, you can go to BuzzTube to get likes.
They never used YouTube. They used BuzzTube.
I know.
That's the funny
I know
thing.
BuzzTube is an actual thing. Maybe YouTube was just like people were gonna get up in arms because parents just like get all up in arms about stupid shit anyway. But it's like they used BuzzTube. They didn't even make
thing that they didn't.
They didn't make any clever commentary on it whatsoever because of the fact that, one, it's Disney and Disney's a family brand, and Disney's too fucking safe to pull any of that shit off, and like, secondly, they're just listing what these things are. They're not doing anything of it. They're just advertising. Yeah. It's advertising to the most fucking selfish degree. And, like, kid, like, the kids are watching this, like, yeah, they might have phones or whatever, but those things are regulated. I'm pretty sure, like, you're not going to find a fucking 10-year-old on Instagram. I'm sure you're not going to find it, like, you know, I'm sure you're not going to find, like, a 12-year-old trying to use, like, their parents' credit card on eBay. Like, you're not gonna find any of that. So what is this? This is only for the purpose of entertaining the adults who know what this stuff is.
Yeah.
But it's not entertaining to the adults because you're not making anything about it. You're not making any clever commentary about it. You're just saying, oh, that exists. I'm just like, that's just the worst of marketing. It's just that's just the worst and irritating of marketing. Just pointing something out and saying, oh, this exists. And we're not going to do anything about it. We're just going to say, like, we're just going to advertise it like it is. And I'm just like,
we're already like 30 minutes
I know.
We haven't even talked about the second
We're not. Yet. Yeah, we haven't even talked. But there's a lot to talk about this movie. And why it irritates the fuck out of me and legit pisses me off. So anyway, they traveled to, they didn't even use Google. They used Knowsmore.
Yeah, they used Knowsmore, which is like a character in this movie. I don't think it even exists.
You know what?
So it's like the off-brand.
It is the off-brand. That's the off-brand. I don't even know if it's a real site. I don't even know.
Me neither. But like, he was cute, though.
You know what? That would have been clever commentary on it, though. Like, if they would have actually used Google. Like, the actual... Like, you know, if they actually used Google and Knowsmore was like the search bar for Google. Like, that would have been clever commentary the more I thought about it. And I do not know why the fuck they did not do that.
Maybe it's because, like, maybe Google didn't want them to do that or something. Because, like, you think about it, there's a lot of brands that are in Wreck-It Ralph and Wreck-It Ralph 2. That too.
Yeah.
So I think it's a thing to where maybe, like...
They could use some brands, but they can't use others.
I think, like, because I know a lot of people, like, when they were doing Wreck-It Ralph and stuff like that, like, they probably had to go through a lot of deals to even get some of the characters that they had. So maybe certain characters...
Goodbye, the actual, like, creators, like, goodbye, like, you know, goodbye the crossover Mario, goodbye the crossover Sonic, like, all of those fucking characters you're never gonna see in a Wreck-It Ralph movie because they just pandered it with so much internet bullshit.
Yeah, so like they probably had to get like some rights to some of the characters, so that's probably why.
I'm glad that they. You know what's funny? I'm glad that they could get the rights to use Amazon and Google, like two of the fucking biggest like companies.
But they couldn't get the rights.
But they
to,
couldn't
like,
get the
YouTube.
rights to. They couldn't get the rights to YouTube. They couldn't get the rights to like video game characters, which is what this movie is about. You couldn't get the rights to Mario.
The only video game
Nintendo.
characters we saw in this, we didn't see any Nintendo characters at all. Like, no Nintendo.
Only Sega.
We only saw Sega. The only character we saw that was, like, not from, like, a normal game was Sonic.
Like, literally.
That was the only character.
The first like, I would say 5 to 10 minutes, there's no video. Like, that's the only time you're ever gonna get video game characters in this. That and the end of the, like, a little bit at the end of the movie. That
was like it, and that's disappointing because they had that a bunch in the first movie. But then again, I can understand, like, they're probably trying to get the rights to them. Maybe a lot of companies didn't want to do that.
I don't know, man.
So that's the only explanation I can think of with that.
But no, we can get like, you know.
We can get Amazon, all this other shit.
It's okay, because you know why? We got Disney brands, and I'm like, oh my god. Okay, so.
Let's talk about another part.
So, they go to Knows More, and that leads them to eBay, which is another fucking horrible advertisement.
Yes, and eBay literally looks like you're going to, like, the county fair.
It looks, no. You know what it looks like?
What?
IKEA.
Do you say it looks like IKEA? Are you kidding me?
It looks like IKEA.
How does it look like IKEA?
It does look like IKEA. All of the fucking buildings look like IKEA, and I do not know why the fuck you would even, like, bother if you're just gonna go for that much. If you're just gonna go for every single building looks like IKEA, then why even try in the art department at all? Yeah. Why even fucking try? Why even try at anything? Just fucking Wreck-It Ralph 2. Why are you trying? Okay, so they go into eBay and they like see the will that it's gonna be bought. So they do something really stupid.
Yeah, they do. This is the stupidest thing I've ever seen, and I don't even bid on shit. Like, whenever I go on eBay, I don't bid on shit because I don't see the point of it personally. Mm-hmm. But that's me. But, like, this was so stupid. Like, they decided, hey, it's like a number game. We just have to do the highest number, we win. Bitch, that's not how the fucking world works.
Well, okay, the thing about it is they don't know how to bid. They're video game characters. They're not real world people that are walking around. And they don't know how
fucking money works. That's the other thing. Like, Ralph is a fucking adult. Vanellope's a kid, which I can understand.
Well, the thing is, they have currency in the video game world.
But they don't have currency in, like, the internet. So, basically, they end up playing, like, a quote-unquote number game to get the thing. And instead of it being, like, something really simple, like, oh, like, $300. This was, like, $27,100. Uh-huh. That's how much they bought the fucking wheel. Like, are you serious right now? It's a fucking wheel.
Yeah.
And, like,
I don't even know if there's limits to eBay to how much.
I have no idea. And, like, I don't bid on eBay, so I don't know.
Bad advertising. If you're going to just, like, you know, advertise your product, do it well and don't tell people that you can accidentally bid this amount of money and then it can stay like that. Don't say that's like, don't say that like, you know, is like, you know, your thing of, like, especially when it contributes to the main fucking plot of this movie.
Yeah. So after they
bad advertising on eBay's part right there. They didn't even advertise it good.
Yeah, they barely advertised. And everyone, instead of calling it eBay, they called it eBoy, and it's like,
which is very
stupid.
Yeah, it's very stupid,
and it's like,
it's a bad fucking joke.
Anyway, so yeah, they just kept calling it eBoy instead of eBay, and I'm like, it's really
bad joke.
It's bad.
Anyway, joke. I want it.
Anyway,
bad joke.
We get it. Anyway, so after that whole thing, they end up going to, like, I guess the front desk or the checkout.
Yeah.
After they get their quote unquote voucher, and she was like trying to tell them you need a credit card number, and which I know you're supposed to do that when you go on websites like Amazon, eBay. You're technically supposed to do that. But they don't fucking know how to do that because they were never in the real world. So it's like, they expect
video game characters to get a credit card number.
Yeah, so they literally had 24 hours to get the fucking wheel and to pay off $27,100. And it's like, really, dude? Like, they fucked up. That was the first mistake. They fucked that up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, are you kidding me right now?
So they go and they assist the help of Stanley, which was
a spam. They literally went to, like, a spam website.
They Spamly that can get rich playing video games since they're video game characters. They're like, oh, like, you know, we can get rich playing off of video games. So they go to his quote unquote site. And they're like, oh, you can get rich by loot hunting, which you go into other games and you can like sell items from the games for lots of money, real cash money in the real world.
Yeah.
Which, okay, that exists. You just informed that loot hunting exists and stuff like that.
But yeah, they end up doing that. They end up going into Slaughter Race, which is
like
it's like an RPG kind of game.
RPG,
racing game.
It's GTI. This is the equivalent of
Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
This reminds me of Grand Theft Auto in like so many ways, except it's not as like
it's
mature.
Disney's.
It's Disney's version of Grand Theft Auto,
which is like what, like why? Okay.
So they end up going into there, and apparently they have to get they get Shank's car, it's like $40,000.
Yes.
For whoever decided to $40,000 for a fucking car in a game. What?
Why would you pay $40,000 for a car that you're not even gonna get in real life?
That's the thing that bothered me. It's like that. I was like, that's so stupid.
I'm like, there's some idiots out there in the world. But
anyway, so they end up going into the game. Penelope fucking loves this game, and she's like fucking 10. She's like 9, 10.
Very sporadically, she's like, oh my god, this is like, this is so cool looking. She's only been there one time. She's only been there one time,
already.
And she's like, I love this. This is so new and exciting, and there's no limits to where you can drive. Like, this is limitless, and I like it here. And then it's like,
Ralph's like, why do you like it here?
Yeah, like, why do you like it here? And I'm like asking the same question, like, Vanellope, you're
like 10.
Vanellope, yeah, you're 10.
Wouldn't you want to, like, okay, I get some people want to be like adventurous and shit, but at the same time, it's like, dude, you're 10.
Oh.
Like, dude, you're 10.
The more you move into this plot, the more I find bullshit about it.
Oh my gosh. Anyway, we're gonna try not to talk about too much of the plot, but basically the sum of it is that they try to go after Shank's car. They end up doing a big ass car chase,
which is actually legit. I actually do like that car chase.
Yeah, like it was a great car chase.
It was a great car chase. I was more impressed about, oh my god, Disney's animating cars. Holy fucking shit.
I have to admit, they actually did really good with that. Like, that scene was good. Then, at the end of the scene, they get caught because they were trying to get Shank's car. Ralph was trying to, like, defend Vanellope. Vanellope was, like, the fucking embarrassed child. Because Ralph was, like, fake crying about this, which I can understand you trying to back up for a friend or something if they do something wrong, but at the same time, it's like, dude, she's 10. Literally, you're gonna keep hearing me say, dude, she's 10.
Yeah, okay.
Because of the context, and you'll see why when we talk about shit later.
Okay.
You will see why later.
Okay.
So, basically, after that whole thing, Shank decides to be like, look, we can understand you guys trying to get money. However, instead of trying to steal my car, I can show you a way that doesn't involve stealing my car. So they show
She's
them...
like, there's a lot more ways on the internet to make money
than stealing my car.
And then I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, I'm sure there's a lot of ways, lady. I'm sure there's a lot of ways.
How old is even Shank in this is the thing I want to know.
She is an adult.
Yeah. Like, is she like Ralph's age or like...
She like... appears to be.
She looks like around Ralph's age, but we don't know how... Canonically, we don't know how old they are, but I've heard from some people that Vanellope's technically like 9 or 10, and Ralph's kind of like just adult. They don't really say his age.
I think he's 40.
Okay, let's not...
I don't remember. He's played by John C. Reilly, who I guess I don't know, John C. Reilly, really likes that character.
He does.
He really likes that character. And I people could compliment on John C. Reilly for, that, him being Wreck-It Ralph as being one of his best performances. So...
That's kind of like how the guy that played BoJack was, one of his best roles, I think.
Yeah.
But this is different, though. Anyway.
So...
let's continue.
So, Shank makes a video...
of Ralph...
being blow-dried
in the face, and that ends up going fucking viral, which is the stupidest thing I've ever fucking heard in my life. I've seen worse shit getting viral.
Let's see, if I glued a blonde, what are they called, blow dryer in your face, and you went all crazy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, that would go viral, but it wouldn't, like...
It wouldn't stay viral for very long.
Once they made a note. So Shank is like, hey, go see my friend Yas. And, like, you know, the algorithm at BuzzTube. Who
fucking calls a character Yas? That's the thing I find interesting. And it's like,
why? Oh, such clever
character
names.
design's an A+. However, the name I feel like they should have worked on.
Oh my god, the fucking names.
The names. Minus Nosemore. Nosemore's cute though.
Nosemore's cute. I like Nosemore. That's a good name. Yas is not a name.
Yeah, like, anyway. So, they end up going to find Yas in BuzzTube. Mm-hmm. This is the thing. They don't even use fucking YouTube. It's literally a YouTube knockoff.
Yeah.
They won't be able to get these other companies.
I mean, BuzzTube exists. I don't even know.
It does?
Yeah, BuzzTube exists.
Is it like YouTube? Because I don't know.
BuzzTube exists. I don't know. I've never been on it, but it's...
Neither have I. Whoopsie. Wow. It's okay. I'm okay. Not over a stool. I'm okay. Anyway, so... Basically, after that whole thing, they go to BuzzTube. Uh-huh. They meet with Yas. I'm gonna not like saying her name after this.
Yas.
Stop it. Anyway.
I need to find some humor in this.
I'm trying. Okay, so after they meet Yas. You shush. I'm gonna call her Y. Okay.
Don't call her Y. Just call her by...
Fine, I'll call her Yas.
By the stupid name that the fucking filmmakers gave her.
Anyway, can we finish? We're like 40 minutes in.
I know, but there's a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about this for probably an hour and a half.
Yeah. Anyway, so basically they go to her. They end up talking with her about we need to get money in like 24 hours. Or like, I think at that point it's like 12 hours.
Yeah.
It's like 12 hours. How the fuck does time work in the internet world in this? Like,
time moves fast in the internet. I don't know.
So it was like, now they only had 12 hours. So it's like, what the fuck did you do for 12 hours?
They dicked around.
Okay, please don't say that. There's like a kid.
I
can't say that.
They fucked around.
Please don't do that either. That's even worse.
They messed around.
That's even worse. Stop it. They hung out for a long time. Let's just say, honey.
Well, in the context of this movie, you know.
Please, no.
It is terrible. Okay.
We're not trying to be disrespectful, okay?
So, anyway, Ralph gets the video, and then when they get there, he's like, oh, you're not popular anymore.
And he's like, what?
And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, people have the span of like 15 seconds, so like people aren't interested in your videos anymore. So he's like, I'll make a span of videos that are sure to capture a lot of hearts and attention. And apparently this ends up in money somehow. They didn't even set up a PayPal. They didn't set up anything. What was their currency?
Like hearts.
Hearts was their currency. When I press hearts on any website whatsoever, I doubt that people over there are getting currency. Like, what website is that? Is that on BuzzTube?
I don't know.
If I get, like, hearts on BuzzTube, I'd be a fucking millionaire right now. If that's how it worked. They didn't set up anything. They did not set up a...
Like, they didn't set up anything. They literally just had, like, hearts as soon as they got there. Like, oh, you now have a heart account. And it's like...
A heart account?
What the fuck?
A heart account. God bless if there's an actual website like that, and show me where that website is. I would love to visit there.
Yeah. Anyway, so we get to that. Mm-hmm. They start making viral videos, and a lot of them were trends that most of them have died down. Not all of them, but some of them have died down. Like
the hot pepper challenge.
The hot pepper challenge was old.
The flossing, I
feel like some people still do that, but it's not as much as before. Like, flossing is still kind of current, but not as current as,
makeup tutorials.
People still do that. I feel like that's not... Here's the thing. I don't feel like makeup tutorials
Mari,
are like a trend.
when I saw this yesterday with you, I was so fucking... I was like...
I know people that still do makeup tutorials.
No, but the fact that this has aged so badly.
Yeah.
It's aged so fucking bad that... I was just like, what the fuck are you doing?
And then, like, the screaming goat.
This was aged when I saw it.
Yeah.
in theaters. And I'm like, no, it's just gotten so much worse. And it's like,
So yeah, he ended up making a bunch of trends like that.
the Screaming Goat, which was popular in what, 2011?
Yeah, like 2012, I think.
Oh.
Around when like Taylor Swift's like I Knew You Were Trouble, like
Yeah, 2012.
something like that.
That was popular in
2012.
2012, and they're making references to.
It's okay. Anyway, so he does a bunch of viral videos. They get popular. He gets like almost the amount of money he needs, and then Vanellope goes to like the family-friendly channel, like Disney Channel thing. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to like, she's trying to help spread awareness, and Ralph does not want her to leave. And
Okay. There's something before that happens. Something before, like, that, this was the line. This was the line that, first, when I saw it, I didn't pay attention to it. Second time, I felt very, very, very uncomfortable. It just went down from there. So before she goes off on the little space pod, whatever, to go to ohmydisney.com, let's just...
Yes, that's the name of the website, ohmydisney.com.
Which I've been on that website before.
Wait, is that a real website?
Yes.
What?
Oh my Disney.
This is a real website?
Yes.
What?
Mari, they gotta shell out their Disney brand somehow.
I didn't even know this existed. I thought they just made it for that.
No, it's a real thing. Okay. So before she goes on her space pod to go to ohmydisney.com, which Ralph sets up because he doesn't she does not want her going to the more dangerous parts of the internet.
Dude, she's 10.
Okay. Here's the thing. I'm gonna say this. So what he says is like, oh, like, you know, we've been together all the time for 6 years. Like, you know, we're never apart. We've never been apart for 6 long years. We never go without a second without each other, which is like already very concerning. Like what was he doing? What was their like distance ratio? What was their social distancing, which was probably none when they were like hanging out 6 years for 6 fucking years in the arcade? What was their distancing level? What happened when she had to like go to the bathroom? What happened when she like, you know, had to do all that stuff? Already very uncomfortable, like
that's one
wording
of the
right there.
Moments where it's like, dude, she's 10.
Already very uncomfortable wording right there. Like, we've never been apart for 6 years and all this other bullshit, except when they had to go to work and they had to be apart. But anyway, so Ralph is just like freaking out over the fact that she's gonna be gone for a couple of fucking hours. That she's gonna be gone away from him.
And then he's like freaking out.
And he's like concerned because it's the internet and she thinks like something's gonna happen to her.
This is also like the overprotective parents.
This is the overprotective parent and stuff. It's the overprotective, like, father, his brother, mentor, whatever
they're considered.
Male authority figure in somebody's life, or just authority figure in general. It doesn't have to be male, just like something. Anyway, so he's just like, you know, I don't want her going like, you know, by herself. It's like that, and that was like the first fucking red flag that came up. And it just gets worse from there.
Yeah, and like, dude, she's 10.
She's
10.
She's 10.
She has people with her.
She's
not going by herself.
Yeah, and
she literally has like Yaz's like butler going with her for like the whole thing.
Yeah. So anyway, they get to ohmydisney.com, and she's like, she makes fun of it by saying, "Oh, cartoon characters," and I'm like, what the fuck are you trying to do here? And
they were so 3D, it's not even funny.
And they like do like really bad jokes. I don't know. I expect Disney to do a lot better with making fun of itself. Like they did that before with other movies beforehand. I don't understand. I really don't understand. They can't, like, you know, actually write good jokes from themselves. But anyway, so Vanellope escapes from the stormtroopers.
Yeah, she literally gets caught by stormtroopers and gets chased around. She ends up... Let's just talk about the princess scene briefly, because we've already talked about it.
Let's just
princess scene happens. They go through that whole thing. She does a song. She goes through that whole thing. Okay, we already talked about this. So
And it's funny.
That's all we're gonna say because we already talked about this.
And I would rather see a movie about Disney princesses in high school.
Yes.
Like, honestly. Like,
it's because you like Equestria Girls, that's why.
I like Equestria Girls, but it's like, if it was just that, if the movie was like a different movie in general, and if they had these princesses in like high school or college years, and they were like laid back and stuff like that, and they used their princess powers to, like, I don't know, defeat the evil cheerleader. I don't know. Like, I would watch the shit out of that because they had so much fucking personality, and they played off each other, like, you know, really
So well.
So I'm like, why? Well, although they were more like questioning Vanellope and, like, you know, playing off of her more than they were playing off each other, but
Yeah.
But I liked,
was interesting.
I liked that scene. That was like who knew that the best marketed scene out the entire movie, which only lasts for like less than 10 minutes, was the best scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Shows that they wanted to advertise this scene than anything else in this movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
we went through all that whole thing. We already talked about it. She sung her song.
Ralph gets the money.
He gets all the money.
And then he looks at the comments section.
He actually goes to the comment section and...
Tamed down version.
Okay, here's the thing. I can kind of see what they were going with the comment section because a lot of people go through hate, like, on social media.
I fucking laughed out loud.
Yes, but I could see what they were trying to do with it. But it failed.
But I fucking laughed out loud.
I know you did. But look, okay, let me explain.
I hate him.
Let me explain this. So, honey, look, with that part, I could see what they were trying to do. It had good intentions to it, but they executed it so poorly, that JC literally laughed at this shit.
I can't.
JC could not take this seriously.
The moment that people were saying, Ralph is the worst, and, like, people were like, I hate him. And I'm like, what the fuck? What? These are actual human beings that are, like, you know, making fun of a video game character. Like, that video game character has feelings and some shit like that.
But yeah, that was a whole thing that happened. And then Yaz comforts him, telling him that he got over, like, the amount he was supposed to get. He got, like, $40,000.
Yeah.
So that I was impressed with. Like, Yaz is a good character. I will admit that. I think she was a good character.
I think she's just there.
She was better than, like, some of these other characters.
Okay. But I don't get really much impression from her. But I think that's when Ralph, like, you know, when he saw the comment section and he was like, oh, the internet is cruel and the internet is manipulative. I think that's what got him started on that fucking cycle that was already worsening.
Vanellope was getting brainwashed by everybody.
Okay. We haven't gone to that part.
Okay.
So, Vanellope sings her song ballad.
And then ends up going to Slaughter Race.
Yeah.
Without Ralph even knowing. Then she ends up talking with Shank. And Ralph's trying to call her because he gets to eBay. And then he's trying to call her and she doesn't answer. She has her phone on mute.
Yes.
So he could see what she was saying, but he couldn't say anything.
Yeah, so...
And, like, I want to say this. The execution of that, like, that thing, like, not the, like, the dialogue, but the way they execute that only he couldn't say anything, but she could. I liked that.
Give her time to talk.
Yes, I liked that aspect, but the way they did everything was execute. Like, I like the way they do some of the things in this movie, but they don't execute it right.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Okay. I would like that if it wasn't what's her name? Shank. If Shank wasn't like
an adult.
No, if she wasn't hitting Vanellope in, like, already a vulnerable state. I don't know. You can take that as you will. Like, there was no established relationship, like, before that. Only one scene. Yeah. That was about it. And already she's talking to her about her deepest feelings. Which, again, like...
And it's like, dude, she's 10 and you just met her.
She's 10 and you just met her and stuff like that. I get it. 10-year-olds, like, sometimes... like want to open up to people and stuff like that, even though they barely meet them. But it's like,
which is honestly a kind of a little bit of a bad thing to do, especially when you're like 10 years old and talking to a stranger, because you, like, I can understand this, like, the idea that they were going with.
I can forgive that, but
but like,
I don't really like how Shank was talking down to her in a way.
Like, they should have been talking like, they shouldn't have been she should have been talking down to Vanellope. They should have talked like in a different way.
Well, okay, in the second interaction, I think it fixed that. Before like they go out on their race and stuff like that. I think that was done a lot better.
That was a lot better.
Yeah, that was a lot better. It's just the way that the first one was framed and stuff like that. The first, like, the way that it was framed and stuff like that, it made it like, it just made it feel weird. And then, like, you know, when they were like, I guess they were playing basketball before, like, they had to go and, like, you know,
do the race. Then they
kind of fixed it. They fixed it more, and I'm like, okay, this is the more what it should have been. This is what it should be like whenever Vanellope and Shank are talking to each other, stuff like that. So anyway, Ralph sees this and immediately thinks that she has been brainwashed.
It was like, dude, she's 10. She is 10 years old, and you're like being her fucking babysitter.
You're being her babysitter, and it's not helping.
It's not helping the circumstances.
It's not helping the fact that immediately he wants to destroy any chances that Vanellope, like, immediately. He's like, oh, she's brainwashed. I gotta just destroy this new interest that she has. I gotta destroy it.
And that honestly just, like, pissed me off. And
that's not Ralph's character. That is not Ralph's character. I feel like
they literally, like, were so out of character for Ralph in this movie. It's not even funny. It was so out of character.
That's not
for what the first movie did.
That is not his character, and that is not something that he would stoop to that low, especially for a quote-unquote best friend. But anyway, he goes to Stanley. It's like, do you know ways to put a virus in the game, since he has quote-unquote experience with viruses and he knows what they can do. And Stanley's like, oh yeah, I know people. So he's like, let's go to the dark web.
So they end up going to the fucking dark web.
Which is
it's like, dude,
bullshit.
Are you serious?
Bull fucking shit. By the way, thank you for putting the dark web in the movie, something where kids are curious enough to actually go and look at. Thank you very much, Disney.
Like, they shouldn't have done that.
The dark web.
Like, this is one of the things, like, I feel like they shouldn't have done.
It's another
thing.
In
a kid's movie.
Well, there's a thing, that, like, you want to make insightful commentary on the dark web. No, you cannot. You're a fucking Disney movie. Stay in your fucking lane. And it's like, kids who actually use the internet and like are curious about things are gonna find out what the dark web actually is, and that can lead to some very, like, you know, troubling things. But anyway, Ralph, I say anyway a lot because I just,
me too.
I want to get to the next point.
Yeah, so, like, we need to get to the next point.
So Ralph and Stanley go to the dark web, and they made, like, this very, like, you know, sluggish, like, you know, slimy person, and he's like, I'll give you a virus so that, like, he could pretty much just destroy, like, an insecurity virus. That is the funniest fucking thing I've ever heard.
And,
insecurity.
Like, because of this whole thing, it ends up finding Vanellope's glitch, and that's, like, her glitch from her game in the system. Mm-hmm. And that started to make everything else around her glitch out, and it was like,
and they were gonna reset
reset the entire game. So Ralph had to go into the game to save her,
which, oh my god.
And Shank, like, I don't know how the fuck, like Shank was able to find Ralph. They ended up saving Vanellope.
Which, by the way, thank you, Ralph. Thank you. You almost fucking killed your best friend.
Like, he almost literally killed Vanellope.
He almost
just because he didn't want her hanging out with Shank. Like, dude, are you fucking serious right now? Like,
he didn't want her hanging out with
anyone except him.
Anyone except him.
And that's like very toxic and manipulative.
Okay, he didn't want her hanging out with another, like, you know, I guess what you consider another video game character or anything like that. Anything that would like, you know, I guess not idolize him as much, because he has that heart. He has the hero sugar cookie that they made in the first movie.
Yeah, he still has that.
He still has that, and he still wears it and stuff like that. So anyone who gets close to Vanellope and she starts idolizing and stuff like that, he sees that as a threat. He sees that as a threat to their relationship.
Toxic and manipulative.
He sees this as a threat to their relationship, and therefore would do anything, even risking her own fucking life, to pretty much just say like, hey, you can't be with this person.
Yeah. And
I'm just like, what the fuck? What the shit? And it gets worse. It actually gets fucking worse from there. So they end up having a fight in which, you know, Ralph confesses like, yeah, I'm the one who sent the virus into the game.
Because she like gets upset thinking it's her fault.
Yeah.
And it's not even her fault. Like, it's all his fault that this happened. Yeah. So she ends up getting pissed at him. She takes the hero cookie off his fucking neck and chucks it off, like,
the building.
And she just, like, walks off, like, all pissed.
Yeah,
and Ralph is just heartbroken. And
Ralph is heartbroken and all.
And it's like, dude, she's 10.
Okay. This is the emotional, the emotional breakup before the climax, where a lot of, like, kids' anime films do this. Like, something gets revealed, like, it's the lie revealed story, or just something gets revealed in general that makes the person, like, you know, separate from the other person. It's annoying, it's stupid. Here, I find it well justified, but not in the term of, like, it's good storytelling. I find it well justified to where when Vanellope's walking away from Ralph, and Ralph is trying to follow her, and Vanellope's like, don't you fucking follow me. Do not be anywhere near me. And I was, even though Vanellope made, like, you know, kind of a little bit of a selfish decisions and stuff like that for this movie, like, that is a time where I wanted to, like, say, Ralph, do not fucking follow Vanellope at all. Do not even interact with her. Don't even do anything. Do not even fucking touch her. Like, don't even... I was getting so pissed off at that point that I was like, do not even try. Do not even try. Because this is really uncomfortable to sit through. And
it really was. Like, I felt uncomfortable at it too. Okay. Like, I was starting to feel uncomfortable. So I'm like, okay, now I see why you didn't want me to see this movie.
Now you know why I didn't want you to see this movie. Okay, so the virus ends up surviving. And the virus just ends up, like,
going into the actual internet and destroying a lot of things.
It sees Ralph, and he counts him as an insecurity.
Because he's like 100% insecurity.
Yeah.
While Vanellope's was like a 20 to 30.
Yeah, around. And he's like, Ralph is more insecure than Vanellope is, which is, like, you know, I guess true in the context of the actual
It's stupid.
plot. But anyway,
it's so stupid.
He ends up copying a bunch of Ralphs. And while Ralph is going down searching for the cookie, Vanellope just, like, walks around the internet and, like, for some reason becomes very vacant. Did you know this, son? There's no, like, you know, there was no people walking around, like, the little internet people. There's no people walking around and stuff like that. It becomes very vacant.
Like, it was, and I thought that was kind of weird.
Like, that was, like, so
now
weird.
I noticed that. What the fuck? Like, where the fuck did she even go?
Where the fuck did everybody go? Where did the people go? Did they all go to Starbucks and get, like, some coffees? Like, oh, we'll be back in a minute once the plot moves forward.
I'm just like, okay, now I noticed that now.
They all fucked off for some coffee.
Creepy.
Everyone in the fucking...
Oh my gosh, this is getting even worse.
Wait. Everyone in the... I just thought, like, everyone in the crew was like, I'm done animating for today. I'm done animating background characters. Fuck it, let's all get some coffee. Like,
I'm just like, okay, now I noticed that, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Like, everybody just left. There's no one there. No one there except for Vanellope in this dark, it's not alleyway, but it's like a really dark, like, kiosk type mall setting. And it's like real. Okay.
So that ends up happening.
Okay, no. Okay.
So you talk about it. Are you okay?
No, I'm not. I'm getting fucking worked up because after this movie ended, after me and Mari saw this movie,
you were so mad. For
I
like
was so
20
mad.
minutes.
I was so mad for like an hour. I was boiling.
They were so mad. We ended up venting to our friend who saw this movie like around the same time they did about this whole thing,
and it was okay. Let me paint a picture for you guys. Vanellope, after the big argument with Ralph, is walking down a dark kiosk, mallway type hall place, whatever, and Ralph comes out of a dark alleyway, and she does not know that it's a clone version of Ralph. So she's like, "Oh, why are you following me? Why are you here?" And then Ralph looks at her. Like the clone version,
fucking creepy.
The clone version of Ralph looks at her, and he starts making his way toward her with, like, you know, say like in this zombie type state, like when,
and it was creepy.
When
it was fucking creepy
and like
as shit. Like this is
Vanellope
like the
reacts,
definition of like a toxic person.
When Vanellope like reacts appropriately and like
runs away,
and then like
two other Ralphs come out.
Two other Ralphs come out when she's like, you know, turns her back to run away the other direction, and then two Ralphs come from another alleyway, chanting the exact same quote. And, like, the only way that she can actually escape, because they're surrounding her on all sides, is that she glitches her way out of that situation. If she didn't have the fucking power to glitch, she would have been stuck there.
And it's scary.
And that is scary. And she's like, "Ralph, you're fucking freaking me out. What is wrong with you?" And it's like, what the fuck am I watching? What am I watching? It lasts for, like, 30 seconds. But that whole thing,
it was so creepy.
And then she goes outside, and then she sees a bunch of she sees like 10,000 Ralphs climbing the top of these buildings, all surrounding her, and it's like, what the fuck? And she has the exact same look on her face, like I did. I'm like, oh fuck no, because I forgot some of the parts of this movie. But then I remembered, oh no, this is what happens in this movie. And then it just like, oh yeah,
it was
this
so
is what happened in
bad.
this movie.
It was so
except
bad.
It's worse because I forgot half of the shit that happened. So Ralph finds the sugar cookie and stuff like that, and like he realizes that Vanellope, I don't even realize what, like, if I don't even know what happened to think that, like, you know, he like found Vanellope and realized that she was in danger. I don't know what, like,
he probably sensed it.
He probably sensed it.
He probably was like, I'm gonna use my senses, and it's scary.
My terrifying senses to locate this little girl. So,
she's 10.
So Vanellope goes back to Knowsmore, which he's
terrified.
What? Yeah, he's terrified of this shit. She goes back to Knowsmore, and they hide in this little library.
Yes, like he closes the door, and the two of them are like freaking out
because they're like
trying to knock down the door, and then Ralph gets in, but like, and they start throwing books at the Ralph, and then they realize it's actually Ralph, not the clone,
which was greatly justified.
And I was just like, throw the books at him. Throw the books at him.
Throw the books at him. I don't even care about it if it's a clone. Just throw the fucking books at him.
Throw it and hit it in his head.
Throw it and, like, hit it as hard as you can over his head. Now, I'm sorry if I felt that way over a character that I really fucking liked in the first one. Same. But I'm sorry. I could not stand that. So anyway, Knowsmore was like, you know, either you're going to put all the clones in therapy, which, wow. Thank you. Wow. Put all the clones in therapy over obsessing over this child. Or you can go to this wall, which will delete the clones from the internet so that Ralph does not create his own virus to destroy the internet. That was just...
What were they even thinking with this?
I don't know. So
like, that didn't make any sense.
They hop in the hovermobile that Yes has, and they, like, you know, fly toward thing. And then Ralph makes a comment about how overly, like, obsessive he is over Vanellope.
And it's like, dude.
And I'm like, too late, fucking.
Like, too late, bitch.
Too late. Especially what happens especially what happens afterwards, that it was really fucking too late. So the whole Ralph like army is just like, the whole Ralph clone army is just like, you know, trying to get Vanellope back, like just 1,000 Ralphs are just chasing down this one ship. So much so that it's creating like a sea of
like
Ralphs.
A tidal wave of Ralphs.
Wave of Ralphs.
This is creepy. Like, what the fuck?
A tidal wave of Ralphs shouting, "Friend, friend, friend," and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you
can
doing?
I at least say this? The only funny part about this entire thing, this is all I will say, was when it wasn't even have to do with the movie. It was how I said it. It was how I said, like, is that Pinterest? Oh, yeah, I'm like, yes, it's Pinterest.
Yeah, okay. That was
the only thing that was funny.
That was a funny thing that happened. That wasn't even like, you know,
part of the movie. It was because I said it.
It's because you said it. Because you were like, okay, you want to play this out? I'm gonna play this out. So you were like just sitting there, mortified out of your fucking mind that this was happening on screen, and like the tidal waves like push the like they grab hold of the ship. Because they have enough.
Knock into the Pinterest building.
And knock it into the Pinterest building.
And I'm like, is that... And then I'm like, is that Pinterest?
It was so funny because you're like, oh my god, what the fuck is happening? Oh my god. And like, oh my god, what these Ralphs are like, Ralph is fucking insane. I was like, oh wait, is that Pinterest?
Because I was trying to figure out what that is. I'm like, wait, that's Pinterest. Because I didn't recognize the logo.
That was the funniest shit because it just came out of nowhere to me, and it was like you were like so freaking out. You were like so mad, and you were freaking out over all this whole scene that was happening, and then you were like, wait, is that Pinterest? I need to go on Pinterest.
And that was the only thing that was funny, and it didn't have to do with the movie. It was because I said it.
You said it, and that caught me off guard, and I was like, yeah.
And then like they were trying. Okay, anyway, back to plot.
Wait, that was way too funny, and I'm so happy that you like that was the breath of fresh air get calming down, because the next like 15 minutes
was horrible.
It was horrible.
Anyway, back to the horribleness.
So they're trying to figure out how to get to the actual, which is like a few buildings away. I think.
I guarantee when this is done, this is gonna be like 2 hours.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's gonna be an hour 30 minutes. I can tell. So once they're in the Pinterest building, like stories up, and then the wall or whatever, the virus wall
breaks.
No. Well, no, it doesn't break. It's a few buildings away. So the virus wall is a few buildings away. They're trying to see how they're gonna like go over there, and then
the little pin thing from the Pinterest building, Ralph grabs it.
No. Okay, you're missing a big thing. The Ralph clones form into this giant Ralph,
and it was so scary.
It was so scary because the Ralphs are crawling on top of each other
and forming a big ass Ralph. That's
literally shouting, "Friend."
The way you do that is actually kind of funny.
I know, but not funny in the context of that.
I know not in the context, but the way you say it's so accurate.
They're like looking at, okay, that shot where they look, the giant Ralph clone thing is looking down at Vanellope, and he says, "Friend."
It was so creepy.
And then Vanellope is acting fucking scared out of her mind. And I'm like,
dude, she's 10.
She is fucking 10. So pretty much Ralph just says, okay, I am going to quote unquote sacrifice myself. I'm going to fight this monster so that you and Yes can escape out the side of the building. So he takes the giant Pinterest pen and starts beating the shit out of the giant monster.
And then those two run away. Then the thing gets knocked off. Like the bridge gets knocked off.
Yeah, the bridge that Yes and Vanellope were trying to escape gets knocked off. She gets separated from Yes. Vanellope's about to evolve to her death, but the
big Ralph catches her.
The big Ralph catches her.
And this is the creepy. This whole entire next part we're gonna talk about is the creepiest fucking scene in the entire fucking movie.
I'm gonna get so mad.
I know, but we gotta talk about it. We're already this deep in.
Yeah, and I'm already like, I'm gonna get so... Okay, so, what happens? Ralph tries to Ralph tries to get her back. Of course, the thing just swats him away because he's a fly. He's a fly, and it's, like, easy to get rid of, like, so he just kind of swats him away. And then they did this, like, they do this King Kong reference, which, that just makes it so much worse.
Yeah,
they do this fucking King Kong reference where if you don't know it's King Kong, that's between, like, an adult, like, ape, I'm assuming.
Yeah, adult ape and adult woman.
That's between an adult ape and an adult woman if you've never seen King Kong, which already is kind of weird on its own right, but we'll get to that movie whenever we watch it. So they did this whole King Kong reference and stuff like that, and the Ralph has her in his, like, palm, where she's just like a tiny little speck due to how big he is. And then Vanellope blows up at this giant Ralph monster, saying, like, hey, like, you know, you're being a fucking horrible friend. You're being a terrible friend. I want you to let me go. And the Ralph monster proceeds to get, like, you know, mad at Vanellope's response and stuff like that because he's just a vindictive little piece of shit that only thinks for himself. And then Ralph is like, somehow gets up there and, like, you know, saves Vanellope and stuff like that. And then the giant Ralph monster grabs him and proceeds to try and crush him in his hands. Now, this part right here, this is the one that this was the part where I grabbed a pillow and I started shaking. And you noticed it too.
Yeah, I noticed it. You covered your face. Why are you covering your face?
I covered my face. I know it was coming up next, but I did not know that I was going to have that big a reaction to it. I grabbed a pillow. I started shaking so fucking violently that I grabbed the seat. I grabbed we have like a couch. We have like a small little couch. I grabbed the handles of the couch and I started gripping. I started shaking so fucking violently.
I was like kind of concerned. I was about to turn off the movie and then I was about to like get up and just turn off the movie or pause it because I was kind of concerned.
I know, and I was like, I'm gonna have a serious mental breakdown. But what happens next is the worst fucking thing I've ever seen put into a Disney movie or an animated family film in such a long time.
Yeah.
Vanellope is begging for this monster not to kill her friend. And then she breaks down. She fucking breaks down. And she's like, okay, Ralph, clone version of Ralph, or whatever Ralph I'm talking to right now, you win. You win. You win. We can go and we can pretty much, like, you know, we can go off together, just the two of us. I'm it's just gonna be you and me. I'm going to shelter myself from other relationships and other goals just to satisfy you, because I know how much being a friend means to you. And being a friend means to you, and how now I will follow your every whim. I will never leave your side, and I will forever be your friend. And oh my fucking god, what the I in my head, I didn't say this out loud. I'm like, Disney, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing right now? There is no way that anybody who worked on this film did not see what was happening. You couldn't have been that clueless. You could not, no one in their right mind could have been that fucking clueless, and just no one could have been that fucking clueless to not see the implications of what just happened right there, or what they were doing when they were writing the script, when they were doing the storyboards, when they were doing the voice acting. Seriously, no one fucking checked. No one checked any of this shit.
And this is another thing I find interesting. Like, we were trying to look up if there was actually any controversy regarding this part of the movie. There's no fucking controversy anywhere about this on the internet. Nothing.
Yes,
and
but
it's
like Disney is gonna back down because like, you know, LGBT character. But no, they're gonna let this shit slide. They're gonna let this shit slide because it's straight, because of the fact that like it's quote unquote friends, so it's not like anything like that. But let me clarify something. These characters do not age. They do not show any signs of aging whatsoever. They're immortalized video game characters, so they do not age. And canonically, I gotta look this up. I know, like, I'm doing, like, this weird thing right now where I'm looking at Google and we're recording at the same time, but...
That's fine.
How... Okay.
Old.
Wait. Okay. I swear to God. Okay. He is... Okay, I know his age. Okay. So... Canonically, Vanellope is
at least 9
to 10 years old.
So she's technically
she's not a teenager. She is a fucking child. She's a fucking child. Ralph is in by the time this movie comes to play, he's in his late 30s. He's about in his 30s. He's about, like, I don't know what he just said in his 30s. So I don't know if it's young 30s or early 30s. But he's in his 30s in general. He's in his 30s. That's around the age. So you're telling me that a 10-year-old child, is saying this to a grown-ass man that didn't even need to learn this fucking lesson in the first place with the first movie at all. Nothing. They did not need to learn this lesson. And... There's no reason to. There's no reason for Ralph to be this fucking obsessive over Vanellope that Vanellope fucking breaks, and she just like instantly. I'm gonna call it for what it is. She gets fucking groomed. She fucking gets groomed in this movie to pretty much go with Ralph's every fucking whim, just because the fact that he like revealed his quote-unquote true insecurities to her. She fucking gets manipulated as fuck in this movie. She is a fucking victim to Ralph's insecurities.
Dude, she's 10.
She is a minor. And Ralph is obsessing over her like she is a fucking ex-girlfriend. Like, I cannot see it as anything else, okay? Regardless of what the writers or the directors or anything, everybody who worked on this movie had anything to do with the story, that was initially going to be, like, a story about, like, you know, like, because, you know what? It would have been fine. The story would have been fine. Like, you know, a story about, like, letting go of, like, you know, a story about toxic and like manipulative relationships, and like, you know, somebody has to learn about like all that stuff. I don't see that much as often in kids movies, and that's fine. I'm fine with having that type of message in there, but
the way they execute it was so poorly done.
And you do not do this. You do not do this to a fucking adult and a child. You do not do that whenever when you're interacting with kids, when adults are interacting with children. They're not overly obsessed over children to that much of a degree, to where I do truly believe that someone in the writer's room knew what the fuck they were doing, and they did not give a shit. They did not care. They did not check their fucking work. Okay? This movie makes you this right here. This is why this movie makes me so fucking infuriated over just what they were doing. What were you doing? You didn't have any right to butch these characters as much as you did. You did not look at that first movie. You did not fucking care. And the fact that you brought this disgusting like overtones and all this all of this bullshit, the characters that I liked in the first one, even though like I'm not like that big of a fan first one like other people are, I still really like it. I still very much respect that first one and what it was trying to do. It was what that first film was finding was finding friendship and compassion in Ralph and Vanellope that I truly believed in, and it touched my heart in a way that like so few movies actually did. Now you make a sequel right like this and backtrack on it and make it so 10 times so much worse. You make this relationship 10 times more worse and add a fucking predatory fixation on it. Disney, I am fucking disgusted. I am fucking disgusted. And the fact that you base this the fact you base this movie on video game characters going to the fucking internet and like having like, these like, relationship portrayed online relationships of like, this young girl and this guy and this over obsession that actual kids in the real world have like, dealt with and deal with every single fucking day. You don't know what you're doing. There are so many fucking pedophiles, especially on video game platforms and video game forums and online bullshit, and you're just going to let this relationship slide like it is like, the norm. You're going to let those relationships slide when you know that you're showing this movie to children and think that it is okay to do this? Fuck you. Fuck you. Like, I'm serious. Fuck you for that shit. That is fucking unforgivable. That is a fucking unforgivable move that you did, Disney. I hope you're fucking proud of yourself for what you put out there.
Just take a deep breath. So yeah, JC's a little bit heated right now, so I'm gonna take over so you can calm down. So because of this, JC's gonna take a second to calm down, because I'll be honest, this really pissed JC off like so bad. Like when we watched this movie, like it pissed them off so bad. So yeah, I honestly really agree with what JC said. Like I never thought Disney would go this low. But they did. And honestly, I'm disappointed. I'm beyond furious that Disney did this. Like, are you fucking serious right now? Like, basically after that whole thing of what happened...
Ralph, quote-unquote, apologizes, which I don't even believe is fucking apology.
Yeah, he basically apologizes even though... you can't like recover from that. You can't. No one is going to recover from that.
I can't recover from that because it's like even when he quote unquote apologizes, he just promises not to be in her space that much more frequently. He just toned it down. That's what he pretty much did.
Yeah.
He toned it down to a 3.
And then after that whole thing happened, the Ralphs get destroyed. They save the internet. Yada yada yada. So basically after that, and this is the part, like, you were freaked out the most at that, which I also did, but this is the part that freaked me out the most. And this is the part that made me feel like shit afterwards. The end of the story where the two of them leave and, like, part ways, even though they're still, like, being friends and hanging out and stuff like that. But she ends up going into Slaughter Race and doesn't go back to Sugar Rush. She ends up staying in Slaughter Race and away from Ralph. So they're kind of doing like this whole FaceTime thing every once in a while. But this was the thing. Like, even though me and JC were both freaked out at that whole thing, that the last thing we talked about, we were both freaked out about it. The thing that freaked me out the most was like just the end of the scene where they're parting ways. Like, this just hurt me on my core because when they're parting ways, they're both waving to each other. Vanellope was literally waving up the stairs to go into Slaughter Race. She literally looked so creeped out and so scared of Ralph that I almost started crying. I was like, Are you fucking serious right now?
Not even, like,
and dude, she's 10.
And she's not even like she isn't even free from Ralph. You know what the best thing would have been if Ralph and her
should have cut ties. Like she should have cut ties with Ralph after this whole thing.
No, it's like at the end of the movie, it's like, oh, we got 2 more months until we like see each other again. I'm like, no, fuck no.
And it's like, are you serious right now? So literally, that's the whole end of the movie, and then.
Apparently.
Fix It, Felix, and Calhoun basically were raising like 15 of the Sugar Rush kids. They get put back into their game. They try to talk about parenting, all that bullshit, yada, yada, yada. Sure. And that's literally the end of the fucking movie. That's literally it. That's the end of the whole fucking movie. So...
Like, hey,
this was just so bad. Like... Our suggestion is please don't go see this movie. Please don't watch this movie. If you're going to watch it, at least watch the first half. But this was so bad to like Disney standards. I'm not even going to like say the animation was good and like the character design was good. Like I normally say that about Disney movies, but for this one, I'm not even going to count it just because of the way that they decided to handle this fucking thing. And it's like, we're just done. We're done with talking about this. Like, at this point, we're done talking.
We're done.
After this podcast is up, we are never talking about this movie ever again. So no one in the comments better bring up this movie because we're going to block and delete comments about this because this movie is just so bad.
Well, don't say that.
Okay, fine.
Don't say that. Look, you're free and to talk about this movie in the comment section. You like this movie, that is your thing. That go ahead, like this movie. I honestly, but if you want to try and defend,
like that's what I was about to say. Like, if you're gonna defend this movie, we're not gonna deal with this shit. Like, we're not. Like,
well, look, people are allowed to like what they like.
I understand.
If you do not see that, cool, props to you. But for me, for people who actually experienced getting toxic manipulative relationships, and for people who have had like predators groom them into certain situations, especially online, this, I know people like to talk about triggered a lot, and I know a lot of people like to, make fun of it, but it's not a joke. This was the closest thing I ever had to a mental breakdown for months, and it was because of this fucking movie. It legit put me in a state of like hysteria afterwards, and I could not shake that off.
But yeah, basically what we're trying to say is that you can like this movie if you want to, but if you're gonna like it for the wrong reasons, and if you guys are gonna literally argue about it in the comments about this, we don't want to deal with this. So if you guys are, we will read over the comments, but if it gets too crazy, we will not add comments to the video. We will tell you our comments for this video if it gets really crazy.
I know that some people would want to defend Disney, and I know some people will want to defend, oh, you're just seeing it way too into it and stuff like that. And I'm like, why should kids even be subjected to that? Why should kids even be subjected to that? I would have been fine if Disney were to create an original story with 2 toxic people that were the same age as each other and tell it in their, and just tell it in a way that, like, people that age would get. If children were going to see this story, do it with two children characters, so that way they will be able to understand.
Don't do this with like a kid and an adult.
Do not do that. Especially characters that weren't even butched in the first place. Especially with characters that a lot of people really, really love. People love the relationship between Vanellope and Ralph. This movie took it to fucking
dangerous levels.
Dangerous levels that I cannot even, I can't justify. I can't justify Disney even making this movie. There's one word I can describe Wreck-It Ralph 2. It's dangerous. It is dangerous, and I do not condone showing this to children.
Yeah, please don't show this to kids, because This is just so bad.
Do
I'm
not.
surprised no one has talked about this.
There are several people who had mentioned it and talked about
But
it.
there's no actual news articles that have talked about this. This is the thing that pisses me off. People on the internet are talking about this, but the news isn't talking about this.
Well, and this also was nominated for an Academy Award.
Are you fucking serious right now?
I'm serious. They were Disney was predicting that they would win the Academy Award.
What?
Except Spider-Verse took it.
Are you fucking kidding me right now? You gotta be fucking kidding me.
A movie that does much more better with its fucking concepts and family.
I'm glad Spider-Verse got this over this movie, but at the same time, it's are you serious?
Look, I thought it was a bad movie when I saw it the first time.
It's still a bad movie.
It is fucking horrible. This is Disney's worst movie. And find me a worse movie. Find me a worse movie.
Comment below if there's any worse movies than this, because we actually want to know if there's anything worse than this.
Find me worse.
But if there isn't, then both of us are going to say that this is the worst.
I all dare you to find me a worse movie than Wreck-It Ralph 2. I all dare you. Worst Disney movie. Let me just clarify. Worst Disney movie.
Yeah, and it can't be just for animation or for
It can be any animated live action. I don't care. Find me a worse movie.
Don't do it based on animation. Do it literally based on the content of the thing. Because I feel like some people are just going to be like, oh, it's too boring, or oh, it's too this or that. If you're going to do it on the animation, please don't. Just do it on hey, this has bad content to it. Or something like that. You get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, well, I think we're about ready to wrap up.
What
is your rating?
Okay. I'm not going to include animation or character design in this because...
Don't.
I'm not. I'm really not.
Don't.
So, if I had to rate this, I'm literally giving this a 2 out of 10. I'm giving it a 2 out of 10. This is probably the lowest thing I think we've rated on this channel.
I'm giving it a 1.
You're giving it a 1?
I'm giving it a 1.
We do not recommend this movie to anybody at this point because obviously, it's bad. Don't even waste your time watching this movie. Don't. It's so bad. And also, sorry about what I said before about blocking and deleting comments. Sorry if I said that, but look.
Here's the thing about it. The thing about discussion with this movie is the fact that you can look at it any way you want to. You can like it if you want to. You can hate it if you want to. That's totally fine. But
if you guys are going to justify about this,
please be cautious when you're trying to justify the I guess the third act or those scenes in the movie that we really would put people in an uncomfortable state. Please proceed with caution because it will be really bad for somebody who actually watched this
and was affected by this.
Yeah, affected.
Because this could literally probably give people PTSD or flashbacks or something from something they probably went through as a kid.
And I cannot not say that about any other Disney movie.
And that's honestly really sad. So that's the end of us reviewing this.
I'm tired.
We're both done with reviewing this, so that's the end of our talk. We're not talking about this movie anymore. So I'm sorry about what I said about the blocking and deleting comments, but please be mature about this in the comments. I'm gonna just say that now. Just please be mature about it. But I don't want people to be triggered by stuff involving this movie. That's why I was kind of going to be saying, we may block and delete comments if it gets really bad.
People, I remember the post saying, why Lilo and Stitch was the fucking worst Disney movie. That stupid fucking post that didn't even at all attempt to, do any justice. Do any justice to
But this is even worse.
That a movie that actually does understand, complicated dynamic family relationships and stuff like that. You're gonna, if you say that, oh God, I would love to see someone, saying Wreck-It Ralph 2 is better than fucking Lilo and Stitch. I would love to have a conversation right now. Because it's oh my God, this right here is the equivalent of the worst Disney movie that I have ever seen. It took me this viewing to understand why it's just so abysmal and should not be seen. Do not give it any more attention. Do not give it any more light. I think we're good.
Yeah. Okay. I'm Mari.
I'm JC.
And we're both done with this shit right now.